Installation on this guy was surprisingly easy. All you have to do is throw these 3 screws in there into the base and then tighten it down using this big nut on the back side of it to get it to lock in wherever it is. To readjust where your camera's pointing, you'll just loosen that and then this becomes completely mobile. And then when you lock this down again, tightens everything into place, and now the camera is secure. All I had to do after attaching it to the wall is connect it to power, and there you go. This guy is installed. It's solid. It's not going to be moved around by weather, taps, wind, snow, rain, all that stuff. It's solid. All I have to do is make sure that that base is tightened well, and you're good to go. And now hopefully you can hear me okay. Recording. It should be recording directly onto our display that comes with this whole system. But you should be able to hear me live in there, and you can also see me right here. This is the video and image quality. I am about 10 feet away, and that's what you can kind of expect. So if I move a little further, all right, I am now about 25 feet away from the camera here. How well can you hear me? Can you see me okay? Does the pixelation look okay? What's going on, Matt boy? Come here. This is my puppy dog. You've met my puppy dog. And that's Sumo. He's like a miniature Maverick, but not quite. So, this is what you can expect at about 25 feet away.
So this is what you can hear from the screen itself. About 15 feet away from the camera, and this is how loud it's going to be. When I come closer, this is how loud it is. This is at the minimum volume. Let me go ahead and come back in, and I'll show you how to change the volume of what you can hear on the display.
And then to change the volume on the display itself, we'll just go ahead and tap here, and then that speaker, that's how we can turn the volume up louder, or mute. So that was minimum volume. Let's go ahead and go to max volume, and I'll go back outside and show you what that's like.
Alright, so this is now the maximum volume coming from the display inside. I'm about 8-10 feet away. This is how loud it is. Let me go ahead and back up again. This is about 25 feet away. I can hear it inside. So that's what you can hear if I'm just having a normal conversation, tone of voice, not speaking up or anything like that. How well can you hear me? There's an example of that.
And then if we want to speak to somebody on camera, we can just hold down the microphone here and say, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm talking to you. Stay off of my lawn." Then we can even zoom in, see what's going on in certain places, certain areas. And then if we want to go and play back video from earlier, we can just hit the recall button.
Coming from the display inside. I'm about 8-10 feet away. This is how loud it is.
And then if you have all of your multiple cameras hooked up, you can hit this little 4 square button at the bottom to switch between your camera views, where you can see 2 cameras, see camera 3 and 4, or see all 4. Where I just have the one hooked up for demonstration purposes, we can just go ahead and hit the single camera there. Oh, come on now. You can just double tap the screen you want to see if you want to just watch one camera. And right now, this whole system is completely wireless. This is how loud it will sound to you outside if I'm using the screen to talk to you. And this is what it will sound like talking to you using the app on my phone. So this is what it looks like at nighttime. You've got some really bright LEDs that it looks like it's washing out my face here. I'm looking at my phone, really washing out my face. Let's go ahead and see if I can figure out how to turn off that light. Here's an example of the night vision, so what you'll see before the lights turn on. So this is an example of what you'll see with the night vision. The light behind me on that camera keeps turning on, but oh, the IR just turned off on this one because there's too much. So the last section kept on getting interrupted because I was playing dueling cameras. The camera behind me kept on turning on, which would turn off the night vision on the camera that we are using. And so it was just a big hassle, but you kind of got the idea of what the image quality is like in the night vision and with the LEDs. Close up, it really washes out my face, which almost renders the video unusable to like identify somebody, because like my entire face was just stark white. I do wish it had better HDR just to start, but let's just go ahead and start going over all of the features and things that I've run into while using this system. First thing is water resistance. It is IP66 water resistant, which means it should be able to withstand all the weather that you can encounter without submerging it. I did mention at the beginning that this does have the option for expandable storage, and I looked into it and it is limited to just 128 gigabytes. So if you do want to upgrade your storage, you have their cloud option that you can pay for, or you can buy up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card to put in there. Another thing, I had forgotten to pull the little tabs on our batteries here. But one nice thing about this is these batteries are very common. These are the same ones used in Teslas and things like that. These are 18650 batteries, little 2500 milliamp hour cells that are very common, which means that if these do die or go bad for any reason, or maybe you just have had this for so long and it's just always on and being used that those batteries have worn out, it's easy to get new ones. Next, I did figure out what this USB port is for. So you can download software updates or firmware download updates and plug in a flash drive with that firmware to upload it to here. Or you can plug in a mouse and use the mouse on the screen instead of using your fingers. If you have fat fingers like me, or it's just not responsive enough for you, you can just use a mouse to click around on the screen of this display. One thing for troubleshooting, I never ran into this issue, but going through the manual, it does say if it doesn't automatically connect, like this has always, like every single time I turn these on, they auto connect. So maybe if you're expanding, where this system only came with 2 cameras, if you get your third one and it doesn't automatically pick it up, on these cameras, on the plug end here, you have a little cap here with a button. That little button is a pairing button. So you'll just press that button and it'll put your camera into pairing mode and it'll look for your display to connect to. The next thing I wanted to bring up is the volume. Just my initial impressions, I was like, oh man, this is really loud. So I went in to go adjust the volume and it only went louder. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wish that there was like a volume wheel on like the side or the back or something, just like a little scroll wheel that you can like manually turn it up and down, because the bass volume on this one is, it just picks up too much for me. Like, especially if you're using this as a baby monitor, because it can be used in so many applications, especially something as simple as this, and where it has this little notch in the mount, you can have this pointed almost perfectly straight down, so you can mount this up above like a crib or a baby's bed, something like that. You can use this indoors and outdoors. So unfortunately, if you guys didn't already notice, I'm doing a giveaway, and this is actually one of the things I'm giving away. My wife was like, oh man, this would be really good in our boys' room. We don't have human boys, we have 2 dogs. They have their own room, and this would be really nice to be able to keep an eye on them, because they like to hang out inside their room, and so we can just kind of keep an eye on them from there. It would be nice to be able to mount these in there, but I already promised to give this away to you guys, so we'll have to watch for another set of cameras to come through, and maybe I'll hold on to those for myself. And the last thing I want to talk about is image quality. It's okay. It's not great. On this screen, fantastic. On this display, this is just the right amount of pixels or whatever, the right amount of resolution, that's the word. It looks good. Totally usable. However, when recording video on my phone, it records it at 800 by 448 at 15 frames per second. So you're getting half as many frames as like standard, but it's also, just an example, this is how big it is on a 4K screen. This whole video is being recorded in 4K. This is what it looks like compared to 4K. However, the SD card is larger. That is this big, which is bigger. It's technically 2K, and it was just a weird file size that I'd not seen before. Also, weird file format, because while my phone could use it and my computer could read it, Adobe would not work with it. I had to put it through a file converter to output it. It put out a file size of 2304 by 1296, which is, I'm not super familiar with frame sizes, but that seems like an odd number. Usually they have like a 0 in them, but you know, 1920 by 1080 or 3840 by 2160. But this one is 2304 by 1296, and maybe in certain formats that is a standard 2K size, and that's fine. But honestly, for being 2K, the resolution is really disappointing. I almost wonder if they're upsizing the video just to say that it's 2K, even though the image quality is what it is. They're only advertising 3 megapixels, which is what it's putting out. And like your cell phone, it typically does 8 to 12 megapixels, sometimes 24 megapixels. Those, it will then compress down and get a better image quality for that, 2K, 1080, whatever it is, than what we're getting out of this guy. So when it does put out that 800 by 448 on my phone, I'm not too surprised, and I'm a little disappointed. And maybe that's just because that's the stream quality it can get over Wi-Fi, and that's what we're able to record versus what's actually stored in this monitor itself. Overall, if you're searching for a security system, would I recommend it? Yeah, you don't have to pay monthly fees. You can record the videos, you can expand your memory. It has all of the basic features that a security system should have, in my personal beliefs. And it also has upgradability, that if you want to buy extra storage, it does that. And if you want to buy extra cameras, you can add those on, no problem. I do like that it offers the display. If you're familiar with my channel, I've reviewed a lot of UFI security cameras. None of them have offered a display with them. You don't get a full 24/7 screen to keep an eye on what's happening. You have to constantly be checking in on the app, and it stores videos on the cameras itself. But none of them offer a display like this. So that is a huge upgrade that's pretty cool if you ask me. Weigh your options, decide for yourself, but if you want to get this for yourself, I'll have links down in the description of this video for you to get it. And if you have questions about this or anything else I've mentioned in this video, go ahead and leave those questions in the comments. I try to be as responsive as I can in all of my videos. And in case you didn't know, I am an Amazon affiliate. That's how I'm able to make these videos. So using the links down in the description of this video do help to support this channel with no additional cost to you. So go ahead and click those links, do your shopping from there, and I do make a small commission from qualified purchases. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.